Welcome to this webinar on your career planning in machine learning. I am Dr. Sarang. Machine learning has become a buzzword in the industry and academics nowadays. Everybody wants to learn machine learning, and there are so many courses which are offered, especially due to the current situation in the world. The online education has boomed a lot, and there are so many education institutions which come and they show their own way or the own path of learning machine learning. Now the purpose of this webinar is to introduce you to the various machine learning terms, the capabilities, what you can do and what you have to do to learn machine learning and become an expert in machine learning. So when you talk about the career options, there are different options which are available in machine learning. The first thing is a data science, that is becoming a data scientist. Then the next option which came was a machine learning, where the traditional algorithms of machine learning were taught, and we started talking about specialization in machine learning. Then the artificial neural networks came into the practice, and then people started talking about the deep learning techniques, and then you basically learn those deep learning techniques and become a deep learning expert or get a specialization in deep learning. Now the latest trend today is a natural language processing, and I will talk on this also. And of course, getting acquainted with NLP or becoming a master of NLP can give you a lot of good job opportunities these days. So when you look at this, are you not confused which path to take or how to become an expert in machine learning? And this is what I'm going to discuss in this webinar. Now there is a famous quote by Dr. Lee which says AI is going to change the world more than anything in the history of mankind, even more than the time when the electricity was invented. When the electricity was invented, the entire world saw a lot of changes. Our life, the way we lived, drastically change. And if you look at AI today, the AI is going to bring a change to our lives or the way we live drastically, or rather to a great extent, even as compared to the change which was brought in by the electricity. Now, let me first describe what is the capabilities of AI or what AI can do for us today. Now, if you look at the latest case where this COVID-19 has spread worldwide and the mask has been made mandatory across the world for everybody. Now you can write an application which is an AI-based application which can detect in a group of people whether certain people are wearing the mask or not. So this is an AI-based application. Another application which all of us have been using practically, even when you walk on the road and you want to find out the directions, or when you are driving or something like that, basically you will give the destination location and Google will find out the shortest route to it or even the fastest route to that location, and then you can decide which path to take. Again, this is an AI-based application. Then another AI-based application is a translate system. Now as you see it on the screen, the first screen translates English to Marathi, which is a regional language in India. And if you know this language, you can understand that the translation is almost perfect. The second screen shows a translation from English to Hindi, which is the national language of India. Again, the translation is perfect. And if you look at the third screen, which translates to another language in India, which is Gujarati. And this translation is also perfect. Now this machine translation has become so perfect that in this area, again which is AI based, is almost saturated kind of thing. and we get a perfect translation. Another application of the translation, or another use case for the translation would be when you travel abroad. Say suppose if you are traveling to Germany and you see some signboards at the airport. Now these signboards are typically in German language. Now what you can do is you can have an application on your mobile. You can point that mobile to that signboard and it will give you the translation in English so that you understand where to go next. So that is a translate system. Another application is chatbot. Now whenever you call any service center, at the other end it is generally a robot which is answering your question. Now this is another AI based system which is fully matured. It requires a lot of technologies, that is basically understanding what the customer is asking, that is having an understanding of natural language understanding, and the robot has to understand the meaning of that sentence and give an appropriate answer to the customer. So that is a chatbot. Now the question is, what does it take to create such applications? And that is what exactly the job of a machine learning expert. So for machine learning development, there are different approaches for developing the machine learning model. The first approach is a traditional ML technique which is based on statistics, and after that came the artificial neural networks, where the scientists or the engineers try to mimic what is there in the brain. And so basically the entire architecture was taken from neural networks in the brain, and we call it as artificial neural networks, or ANN in short. Now when the resources, the computing resources were made available in abundantly, then the concept of deep learning came, where the ANN architectures became very complex. In fact, if you look at the brain has several, the network in brain is so complex. It has so many neurons which are interconnected to each other, and that is how the brain is able to learn so many things. Now for an artificial neural network, if it has to learn all the things, or if it has to capture that information, analyze that information, we require the same amount of complexity at the brain. That is, we need to have the number of nodes to a large extent, the number of layers in the network also very large, and that is where this deep learning came into the picture. Now starting with the traditional ML techniques, if you want to learn machine learning, these are some of the traditional ML techniques which are taught in the schools. That is basically the classification, or the regression, or the clustering techniques, probability, or decision trees. Now these are the different mathematical and stat techniques. That is something you will have to learn, and you will have to learn how to code them in a programming language, something like Python or R or something like that. Then the concept of this artificial neural networks came into the picture, where the artificial neural network, at each layer you have certain number of nodes. Now there is an input layer and there is an output layer. So what you see is only the input layer, and at the output you see an output layer, that is you get some output from the network. In between the two there are several hidden layers, and each layer may contain multiple nodes. Now depending on the complexity of this, your network will be capable of learning complex tasks. So the next concept came was the deep learning. Well, now in the deep learning you can see the number of layers which are involved, the number of nodes which are there at each layer, and so on. Now this kind of a network is generally, or in the beginning it was used for image processing. So where an image is given at the input, and at the output it will do the classification or the object identification, and so on. So there are several tasks which were solved using deep learning. Now let me talk about the image processing, because when you talk about the machine learning, besides the traditional techniques which I talked about, that is basically learning those algorithms. Image processing, which uses the deep learning, became the major portion of research. And a lot of research has been done, a lot of models have been developed, and I will describe some of the applications of image processing, and you will understand why image processing is important. The first thing is object detection. Then I will talk about generating images to show you what is the power of image processing or understanding this ML field of image processing. Then the image creation, and finally I will talk about the style transfer. Now the object detection is something which all of us have been using every day. That is when we use Facebook or any application for storing photos or creating albums and so on, the face tagging is a part of it, where the artificial intelligence model automatically detects the faces in the picture, and it allows you to tag those faces like this. So this is an AI application based on image processing. The challenge here is to detect a face. That is basically what it does is it detects the features in the face, a contour, and then finds out, it marks out a rectangle saying that probably this is the face which it detected. The next application is image generation. Now for image generation, another architecture which is used called GAN, and here I have shown you some images which are the cartoons, and you can create these cartoons very easily. Of course, it requires a lot of processing power and the time to generate these cartoons, which start right from basic. That is, you start with a blank screen and it will generate those. In fact, the techniques have gone so ahead that nowadays you can create even a full-fledged movie using these image generation techniques. Oh, sorry. The next comes coloring the images. Now we have many old pictures, old photographs, and at the top you can see there are some images which are in black and white. Now these black and white images, you can color them automatically. That is, you can ask the machine learning model to color this, and at the bottom layer you can see the result where those original black and white images are converted into the color images. The second layer shows the intermediate state during the transition from black and white to color. The third important area is a style transfer. So suppose if you want to create a picture, something like, or a painting like Picasso, what you can do is you can take a picture of your own. That is, you can capture some image using your camera, use the style of Picasso or any of the artists whom you love, and ask the machine to repaint your picture based on a style, and the picture on the right shows such an image, which is the original image is transformed into a style shown at the center, and that's what the result on the right hand side. So the style transfer can be done very easily using image processing. Again, it requires a lot of processing power and the time. The next point comes is a text processing. Now when we talk about the image processing, the image data is always stored in pixels, as you know. Now for the pixels, obviously there are values, that is either the pixel is turned on or off, that is, it is binary. To represent a binary data or to feed the binary data into the network ANN is very easy, because our computers only understand binary. Now when it comes to the text processing, the challenge is the text or whatever you speak, how do I convert it into a binary format? The text can never be represented as yes or no or true or false. So the major challenge is text processing. Now when people saw the success of deep networks in processing the images, they thought, why not to try the same architecture for processing the text, and that is where the major research area started on the text processing. Now let me describe a few applications of text processing. The first application I will talk about is sentiment analysis. The next is the text generation, and finally I will mention about the summarization of the text. Now, when you look at the movie or you want to go and watch a certain movie, generally you will look at the reviews. Now, instead of looking at the reviews given by the magazines or something like that, you may like to look at the reviews by the actual users, that is those who have seen the movies and put their reviews on Twitter. Then you may like to do a sentiment analysis on those tweets, and that is where an NLP application comes into the picture. That is your NLP model. We read the tweets, understand their language. Now when you look at the tweet language is so erratic. It is never very clear English or something like that. While if you look at a review in the magazine, at least the sentences are very clear. They definitely convey what they want to say. While a tweet is something which is very awkward or which is very difficult to understand, and machine learning model can be made to learn those tweets and understand and tell you, okay, this is a horror movie, a love movie, and so on. So you can understand the sentiment analysis involved in NLP and then classify the movies according to the tweet reviews. The next problem is a text generation. Now for a text generation, the major thing is fake news. Now if you have heard of GPT-3, now even with GPT-2, it was possible to generate a text, and the text can be very much similar to the text which was fed to it during the training. Now GPT-3 is so powerful that it is feared that it can be used for creating the fake news, and those can be spread on social network very easily. And this is another major research area and a major breakthrough. GPT-3 has not been officially launched so far. It is available for people to beta test it, and when it comes into the market, on a text generation, it will create a big havoc. Another application of text generation is what about writing novels like Shakespeare? Now you can feed the existing novel of Shakespeare and ask the machine to generate a new text or a new novel which is similar in semantics and the language like Shakespeare, and that's what the machine learning text generation model is capable of doing. Now, what you need to learn for learning such techniques, that is learning the machine learning. Now, as I said, to go for the traditional machine learning techniques, you need to have a knowledge of mathematics. That is basically you need to understand some algebra, some stats, probability theories, calculus, optimization techniques, and so on. So you may like to learn some of this mathematics, but if you are a machine learning practitioner, or if you just want to develop the machine learning models based on the algorithms implemented by somebody, then it's an easy thing to do. Now the only thing is to understand these algorithms. Probably you need to understand, or if you can read this notation, I think you would be fine. You really need not learn mathematics beyond it unless you are developing the algorithms yourself. Now, when you talk about developing the ML models, what are the various coding options? The coding options are, you can use either Python or R, which are very popular languages for developing the machine learning applications. Of course, the MATLAB is there, the Octave is there, then Julia is there. Julia was introduced very recently, is very powerful, and it has produced the results which is far faster than Python. Then of course, if you do not want to learn any of these new languages, and if you know only Java and C++ and C, yes, it allows you to develop the ML models in those languages, but I will not recommend you using those languages. So the better choice for your career would be to learn languages like Python or R or the MATLAB or Julia and so on. Now, for any application development, you require an IDE. So what are the IDEs which are available? The IDEs there are several IDEs which are available, like R Studio or PyCharm or IPython, or even Julia is its own IDE, or Anaconda, which is very famous. So you can use Anaconda, or the last one, which is Colab. Colab, since it was introduced maybe 1 or 2 years ago, it has become very popular among developers because it gives you the free resources. As I said, for the machine learning, you require a lot of processing power, and it allows you to use the GPU free. Not only the GPU, but the recent development is they also allow you to use TPU free. And in case if you spend a small amount of money, then you can access multiple GPUs and distributed training and those kind of features very easily on Colab. Then what are the platforms which are available? Now, as I said, if you really do not want to do go at the core level of developing the algorithms yourself, and if you stick to the deep networks, and you need to just train them, that is, you need to configure them and train them. Now there are platforms which are available which provide you these IDEs, and the big giants like IBM and Microsoft and Google and Amazon, they provide you those services at not so expensive prices, and you can use those platforms for doing the online development, testing, and also the deployment of your final models. Now there are so many libraries which are used, which are available to you. As I said, this entire mathematics, you need not code it on your own. These are the various libraries which are available, like NumPy, SciPy, and so on, which are Python based, and you need to learn to use these libraries to do any coding in it. Then the next thing is a TensorFlow, which is a platform on its own, that it gives you everything right from the IDE, the development environment, the testing environment, the deployment environment. The deployment can also be done on mobiles, also on cloud or your in-house servers. Then you have IDE like PyCharm and so on. Then there are several models which are available, which you need to learn the architectures of these DNN models like CNN, RNN, and so on. So in case if you want to do some forecast for time series, like weather forecast or the price prediction in stock markets and those kind of things, then so for those time series analysis, you have those architectures which are defined, and you will have to learn that architecture, the configuration, how those are programmed, and so on. Then for NLP, the latest architecture is transformer based, and you will have to learn this transformer architecture to apply the NLP techniques, or rather the natural language understanding techniques, which has become a major thrust research area nowadays. And of course, if you are playing games or something like that, you know, for the games probably you can use this last technique, which is the reinforcement learning. So these are the various areas, the libraries you will have to learn, or these are the different models you will have to get acquainted with. Now, with this small introduction of what is required for machine learning, if you want to get started on this, you can look at the short tutorials on state of the art and the emerging ML technologies on our blog site, which is education.epcon.com. And if you need any further assistance or some personal guidance, you are welcome to write to me at this email ID.